So there I was, waking up in the middle of what I could only assume to be some sort of ascendant Walmart. Wondering when I was, that question quickly answered, the future. Oh, the past. Meaning Doom is now historically accurate and these events actually happened. And of course, this world wasn't for the faint of heart, aka game journalist. That's why Bethesda got me, a professional Despicable Me player, to ensure that this game was reasonably difficult for the more casual commoners it usually attracts. But fight? As a pacifist, I would never... Hey, when they attacked me first, all moral obligations went out the window. And I can tell you in full confidence, I had utterly no idea what I was even doing here, and that strategy worked incredibly well. I also discovered that a pen may be mightier than the sword, but not a mace. Now, of course, the demons were panicking and sent their mightiest warrior, Big Winged Guy, who just looks intimidating on the outside, but on the inside, I soon discovered, is actually just a bunch of blood. So I beat the ever-living tar out of him until I managed to uppercut his molecular bone structure.
This turret took some damage. Slayer, we need time to repair them before we can clear a path for the lifeboats.
Well, with that in mind, I needed upgrades, because being the Doomslayer is not enough. And you know what they say? More flail is, something rather, I'm sure. At first I thought some pathetic demon was shooting at me, but no. Turns out, tank. However, my presence alone seemed to terrify it into submission. Never mind. So I saw some green, and obviously I hit it, spawning a herd, or a pack, or a gaggle. Actually, now that I think about it, it's gotta be a horde. Horde sounds like the correct terminology when referring to demons. But regardless, the more I used my guns, the more I wanted to use my melee. And the more I used my melee, the more dopamine was experienced. They did send some kind of pit bull after me, so obviously I parried it, asked its rider to please refrain from such behavior, and sent Cupcake back to hell. Or California. They spawn either or. And I challenged another tank to just try me. And it did. And it hurt. I was embarrassed. So I quickly killed it and pretended like I didn't have a dev looking over my shoulder who just witnessed that. Now, fun fact about Doom, they have revolutionized secrets. Instead of secret behind the waterfall, it's secret beside the waterfall. Now, I still tried to go into the waterfall, but now I'm just cold and wet, and I have to put my armor in the dryer, and it's this whole thing. I did get to appreciate the gorgeous view for a millisecond before this guy decided that he actually wanted to 1v1 me. I then was able to start the Slayer's classic Funko Pop collection. But this toy is unrealistic because nothing that ugly could possibly exist. And so I killed it with extreme prejudice and hatred. And don't worry, I checked his wallet afterwards and he was, in fact, an organ donor, so nothing was wasted. Now after that trivial threat, I found the real enemy of Doom: The Dark Ages. Weak infrastructure. Absolutely diabolical. I made sure to demolish and destroy until I had eviscerated every last pathetic piece of feeble man-made structure until... Please, don't interrupt me. Until I could assure that no human would ever have to fall prey to this embarrassing display. So after acquiring over 3 dozen splinters, I found myself in the charred forest of Doom Land, or wherever I was, and I wanted to go watch a big Titan battle. However, I was interrupted by a giant enemy spider crab, which was when I noticed that, like me at the gym basically every day, its six-pack was glowing. So I just hucked everything at it until its armor exploded. I parried every last green orb until it was within extreme killing distance, not giving it a single chance to... giving it one chance to kill me, and it failed. Finally, allowing me to get to watch the great battle front row seat. And let me tell you, killing a giant enemy spider crab demon was worth the price of admission alone. Another tank decided that he was him, and I proved to he that him was not. Now, of course, in my escapade of masterful violence, there was only one viable upgrade option: crushing enemy skulls and launching the bones back at them. I then found a trail of gold that wasn't a trap. And I just wanted to get some gold. I just want to get the gold. Please, I just want to go get... Finally, after avoiding all the tentacles without failure, I was scared to go back out there. However, my skull-flinging gun thingy needed to be tested, and I can assure you that it was satisfactory to the highest regard, and I will probably only ever use this gun always. And the mace, that too. And now, if you look closely, you'll actually notice that the Doomslayer officially has a nail gun. which is an incredibly helpful tool for things such as laying deck, roofing, putting in a fence, fixing fine china. Oh, and I know that many of you would be asking this exact question, so I took the time to find this answer for you, and it's yes. You can see your reflection in the puddles. No need to thank me, just doing my job. Then they decided to throw this at me. Morale encounters. Basically, they're forcing you to make all the demons sing. And that was exactly what I was gonna do. But the real challenge started when Cupcake started throwing Yu-Gi-Oh cards at me. And trust me, that is the last thing you want to be dealing with at a time like this. I then silently snuck up to the spider and assassinated him like he didn't even know I was there. Of course, without breaking morale fast enough, the battle was really starting to heat up, and they were sending in their greatest warriors. But that's when I discovered I could parry Yu-Gi-Oh cards back at the dealer. If I had only known that in middle school. Regardless, I was finally starting to get the hang of this game, and that is by just spamming every button I possibly could when I saw the bright colors flashing on my screen. And I was glorious. Until they sent in another super hyper cyber demoninator. I riddled him with bullet holes all over, and then I proceeded to fill those bullet holes with the nail gun. Stunned and shocked that I had just treated him like a broken floorboard, I maced him, but the medieval version, because I'm not so sure how pepper spray would do out here. Finally, the head pit bull was vulnerable, and with that, try as it might, it stood no chance against my powers of shooting it with guns because I didn't want to get too close to it. However, using my fear of it against me, it charged straight at me and left me no choice but to bash its head with my shield and then, obviously, rip out and crush its heart before its very eyes. I would consider that a little bit of a morale breaker. So I dabbled a little bit more in home renovation. And on my way to find more toys, I ran into another spider crab who, let me just add, embarrassingly could not do anything against me. Mr. Miles Morale Breaker. I did try to hide behind a rock like a pansy, but I've played enough hide and seek to know that he was, in fact, on the other side, and I punished him for choosing such a ridiculous spot by sawing his head clean off of the chainsaw. I'm pretty sure I'd also consider that a bit of a morale breaker. Then a tank and I had a staring contest. And I won. But in the middle of fighting another tank, one of those small tentacles appeared, but this time, large. And I knew exactly how to deal with the likes of one of these. And all you need to do is... Ow. But actually, for real this time, all you need to do is... And so, without taking nearly any damage, I slayed the beast, and even though I didn't need to, I picked up the health it dropped. On my grand adventure through Demon Forest, or I'm just assuming that's what they call it, I was starting to finally get it. I wasn't actually some kind of ancient warrior slayer. I was a bone reconstruction surgeon / deck repairman. And here, as I beat the living daylights out of this demon, I took joy in the fact that, did you know that alpine bumblebees have been found living up as high as 3.25 kilometers above sea levels, and proved in labs that they could actually fly as high as 9 kilometers, meaning higher than Mount Everest. So anyways, it died. I once again enjoyed the peace and quiet. Before once again absolutely dismantling a wild herd of demons who, I might add, were horrible choices to defend their siege weaponry from a fellow like myself. And just like when you disembowel a leprechaun, inside the siege weapon was a nice little pile of gold. Also, Doom Dark Ages tips and tricks. If you shoot the red barrels, they explode. I feel like I'm one of the first people to actually discover this secret. And right when I thought the toughest battles were done, I encountered him. The most powerful tank, standing menacingly over the hill as if to flaunt its near unlimited power over me. I wasn't sure if conventional tactics would actually be enough to... Oh yeah, that's enough, that's fine. And then, when I thought I was done with the toughest enemies, here came Gilbert. Now you might look at this guy and go, yup, that's just a plain, ordinary, run-of-the-mill demon fella, and you might even assume that you can just kill him in a single hit. Yeah, not Gilbert. I am not even gonna show you what happens next because you would never believe me. After getting miserably lost, I decided to head to the giant death arena. But instead, I encountered something far, far worse. Oh wait, hold on, I just had to quickly get rid of this spider thing. I was then able to do the real work that needed to be done here. I was able to take some time to stop and smell the roses. Unfortunately, there were none, and all I could smell was Parmesan for some reason. Well, into the blue secret tunnel portal with me! Luckily, because this is Doom, all the puzzles are solved by destroying everything in the puzzle room. And behind the puzzle room doors that you destroy, there's the puzzle room boss, who you also have to destroy using the same tactics you use to solve the puzzles. Finally, using my incredibly high intelligence, I destroyed my way through a puzzle to destroy the treasure at the end, which allowed me to destroy my way out of the puzzle room. I then got hopelessly lost and ended up exactly where I intended to go somehow, fighting a bunch of demons in the exact way that I just solved all those puzzles. Now, of course, I began to realize that instead of arming myself with guns, I just used my arm guns to brutally dismantle enemies that clearly felt their personal space bubble being violated. I then noticed the boss health bar at the top, and there was a guy wearing armor that gave him a six-pack as well. I could only assume he is absolutely shredded under that armor. Nevertheless, all of his minions needed to die first because they were being annoying. I then stapled the demon to the boss with the nail gun, and very soon after ruined his armor and realized that he was, in fact, Henry J. Waternoose III. He had to die. So I quite literally disassembled him piece by piece, all the nails sticking out of him, eventually performing the sacred ritual of crushing a demon's heart as they watch on in horror. As I naturally followed the scent of pure gold across the map, I found myself able to do something magical. Swimming. I felt like the Little Mermaid, but if instead she ripped out Ursula's heart and slaughtered countless aquatic animals, and had a mace. Well, I stole the heart of the ocean or something, so that was pretty neat. And then I made sure not a single structure would survive my session with this game. I even prioritized it over doing the main stuff. But after one of the devs told me that there was a room filled with dynamite, I knew what my new main mission was, and then somehow, after firing heaps of rounds into demons that were also chucking projectiles at me, I barely exploded any of the barrels, I assume just because I'm too precise and accurate and flawless in my execution. Well, blue portal number 2 unlocked, and behind that was a room of cultists trying to summon Doctor Strange. So with that, I strategically and methodically solved each and every puzzle using my sharp wits about me. And of course, the video game blessed me with one of the greatest inventions potentially of all time, the Bonk Blaster.
Nice run!
Bonk! These cultists were looking a little too unbonked for my liking. But I still wasn't powerful enough, so I gave more shot to my gun and put new AA's into my Tesla. And then, embracing my cave diver personality, I dove headfirst into a flooded cavern of explosive underwater magma orbs. Least dangerous cave ever explored. But with the power of the Bonk Blaster and just a straight-up mace, this was it. I didn't need anything else. Food, water, shelter, it's all temporary. But the Bonk Mace combo is eternal. You might even say, Doom eternal. No matter how much this demon wanted me dead, I would not allow it. Now, however, when it comes to cultists, well, you need to make sure they're dealt with properly, with finesse, not just casually and without style.